The history of Egypt, from the dawn of civilization to modern times. Introduction. Egypt is a country with one of the most profound and rich histories in the world. Situated in northeastern Africa, Egypt is home to some of the earliest and most advanced civilizations that shaped human history. Its story spans thousands of years, encompassing periods of immense prosperity, innovation, foreign invasions, and cultural transformations. The legacy of ancient Egypt, with its pyramids, pharaohs, and legendary Nile River, continues to captivate scholars and enthusiasts alike. This video traces the history of Egypt, from its earliest settlements to modern times. The prehistoric era before 3100 BC. Egypt's history begins with early human settlements along the fertile banks of the Nile River, which provided sustenance and water in an otherwise arid desert. Archaeological evidence suggests that as early as 5000 BC Neolithic peoples were farming, herding animals, and building small communities in the region. By 4000 BC, these early settlers had developed into more complex societies, cultivating grains like wheat and barley. This led to the emergence of distinct cultural regions: Lower Egypt, the Nile Delta in the north, and Upper Egypt in the south. Both regions were vital in the formation of early Egypt, with social hierarchies, religious practices, and craftsmanship beginning to take shape. The early dynastic period 310 to 686 BC. Egypt's unified history began around 3100 BC, when King Menes, sometimes called Narmer, is traditionally credited with uniting Upper and Lower Egypt into a single kingdom. He established Memphis as the capital and began the first of Egypt's many dynastic lines. The early dynastic period saw the development of Egyptian culture, including the use of hieroglyphic writing, the establishment of centralized government, and the creation of religious and social structures that would define Egypt for millennia. The divine right of kingship emerged, with the pharaoh seen as a god on earth, a central figure in maintaining that cosmic order and balance. The Old Kingdom to 686 to 181 BC. Often referred to as the Age of the Pyramids, the Old Kingdom is one of the most iconic periods of ancient Egypt. Pharaohs of this era constructed the monumental pyramids, including the Great Pyramid of Giza, built for Pharaoh Khufu, which remains one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. The Old Kingdom was marked by economic stability, strong central authority, and advancements in technology and architecture. During this time, the concept of divine kingship reached its height, with the pharaoh viewed as the intermediary between the gods and the people. However, towards the end of the Old Kingdom, the power of the central government weakened due to internal strife, economic pressures, and a growing class of provincial governors. This ultimately led to a period of chaos known as the First Intermediate Period. The First Intermediate Period to 181 to 055 BC. The fall of the Old Kingdom was followed by a period of political fragmentation and disorder. Local rulers now seized power in different regions, leading to a decline in the influence of the pharaoh. There were frequent conflicts between Upper and Lower Egypt, and the economy struggled due to famines and diminished agricultural output. Despite this instability, Egypt continued to produce art and culture, albeit on a smaller scale. The period ended when the Theban king, Mentuhotep II, reunited the country, ushering in the Middle Kingdom. The Middle Kingdom 205-51650 BC. The reunification of Egypt under the Middle Kingdom marked a period of renewal. The pharaohs of the Middle Kingdom, particularly those from the 11th and 12th dynasties, were able to re-establish central control, expand Egypt's borders, and encourage trade with neighboring regions like Nubia and the Levant. During this time, art, literature, and building projects flourished. The pharaohs were also more involved in public works, including irrigation projects to improve agriculture. However, despite these successes, the later years of the Middle Kingdom saw a decline in royal power, leading to the Second Intermediate Period. The Second Intermediate Period 165-1550 BC. The Second Intermediate Period was another era of political fragmentation and foreign rule. This time, Egypt was invaded by the Hyksos, a Semitic people who introduced advanced military technologies such as horse-drawn chariots and bronze weapons. They ruled much of Lower Egypt from their capital at Avaris, while native Egyptian kings continued to rule Upper Egypt. The Hyksos were eventually expelled by Ahmose, the founder of the 18th dynasty, marking the beginning of the New Kingdom. The New Kingdom 155-1077 BC. The New Kingdom is considered the height of Egyptian power and prosperity. Pharaohs like Hatshepsut, Thutmose III, and Ramses II expanded Egypt's territory, transforming it into a powerful empire. Trade flourished, bringing wealth and luxury to the Egyptian elite, while monumental temples and tombs, such as those in the Valley of the Kings, were constructed. The New Kingdom is also famous for the religious revolution of Akhenaten, who attempted to shift Egypt's polytheistic religion towards the worship of a single god, Aten, the sun disk. His reign was short-lived, and after his death, Egypt returned to its traditional beliefs. His successor, Tutankhamun, became famous in modern times due to the discovery of his nearly intact tomb. By the end of the New Kingdom, internal strife and foreign invasions, particularly by the Sea peoples, weakened Egypt, leading to the Third Intermediate Period. The Third Intermediate Period 107766 for BC. Egypt entered a period of decline during the Third Intermediate Period, characterized by the fragmentation of political power and foreign domination. The kingdom was divided into competing factions, with the priesthood of Amun gaining considerable influence in Thebes while the Libyans ruled much of Lower Egypt. This era saw the invasion of Egypt by the Nubians, who established the 25th dynasty and restored many aspects of Egypt's former glory. However, this was short-lived, as the Assyrians soon invaded, ending Nubian rule and marking a new chapter in Egypt's history. The Late Period and the Ptolemaic Dynasty 6640 BC. The Late Period saw Egypt come under the control of foreign powers, starting with the Assyrians, followed by the Persians. In 332 BC, Alexander the Great conquered Egypt, beginning the Hellenistic period. After Alexander's death, his general Ptolemy established the Ptolemaic dynasty, which ruled Egypt for nearly 300 years. Under the Ptolemies, Egypt became a major center of Hellenistic culture and science, with the city of Alexandria housing the famous Library of Alexandria. However, internal conflicts and increasing Roman influence led to the eventual decline of the Ptolemaic dynasty. In 30 BC, Egypt became a Roman province after the famous Queen Cleopatra VII's defeat by Octavian, later Augustus Caesar. Roman and Byzantine Egypt 30 BC to 641 C. As a Roman province, Egypt played a crucial role in the empire's economy, providing grain and other resources. The Romans continued many Egyptian traditions while introducing Roman architecture, law, and culture. After the division of the Roman Empire, Egypt became part of the Eastern Roman Empire, also known as the Byzantine Empire. Christianity spread throughout Egypt, and by the 4th century CE, it became the dominant religion, with Alexandria emerging as an important center of Christian theology. Islamic Egypt and the Ottoman Empire 641-1798. In 641 CE, Arab Muslim forces led by Ammar ibn al-As conquered Egypt, bringing the region into the Islamic world. Over the centuries, Egypt became an important center of Islamic learning and culture, particularly under the Fatimid Caliphate 909–1171 CE, and later the Ayyubid and Mamluk dynasties. In 1517, Egypt was absorbed into the Ottoman Empire, and although it retained some autonomy, it was governed by Ottoman-appointed rulers. Throughout the Ottoman period, Egypt remained a key trade route between Europe, Africa, and Asia. Modern Egypt, from Muhammad Ali to independence 1798–1952. In 1798, Napoleon Bonaparte invaded Egypt, marking the beginning of modern Egypt's history. Although the French occupation was short-lived, it sparked significant changes in Egyptian society and governance. In 1805, Muhammad Ali, an Ottoman officer, established himself as the ruler of Egypt and began a series of reforms that modernized the military economy and education system. His successors continued these efforts, leading to the construction of the Suez Canal in 1869, which significantly boosted Egypt's strategic importance. Despite these advancements, Egypt remained under British control from 1882 until it gained partial independence in 1922. Full independence came in 1952, following a revolution led by the Free Officers Movement, which ousted the monarchy and established the Republic of Egypt. Contemporary Egypt 1952–present. Since the 1952 revolution, Egypt has undergone significant political and social changes. Under the leadership of President Gamal Abdel Nasser, Egypt pursued a path of socialism and pan-Arabism, becoming a leader in the Arab world. The construction of the Aswan High Dam and nationalization of the Suez Canal were key achievements during his rule. After Nasser's death, Anwar Sadat shifted Egypt's policies, making peace with Israel through the Camp David Accords in 1978. This marked Egypt as the first Arab country to formally recognize Israel, a move that remains controversial in the Arab world. In the 21st century, Egypt faced significant challenges, including the Arab Spring in 2011, which led to the ousting of longtime President Hosni Mubarak. Egypt remains a key player in Middle Eastern politics, balancing internal pressures with its role on the international stage. Conclusion. From the dawn of civilization along the Nile to its pivotal role in modern geopolitics, Egypt's history is a story of resilience, innovation, and adaptation. The legacies of its ancient pharaohs, monumental achievements, and cultural contributions continue to influence the world today, ensuring that Egypt's place in history remains eternally significant.